We're now moving to agriculture and fisheries, and Council Motion 5, Joe Byrne to propose.
Increases the export potential of the agricultural sector and food processing industry. Food processing at the moment in Northern Ireland involves companies like My Park that are a primary producer and a chicken processor. We have Bayona and the Cookstown Pig Factory. We have Kerry Foods based in Armagh and Denny and Portadown. We have meat plants in Newry, Dungannon, Derry, Armagh, etc. These are crucial in terms of the food processing industry and crucial in terms of creating employment. Companies like Strathroy Malt, United Dairies, Dale Farm are also very important industries within Northern Ireland. The whole of Ireland, North and South, needs to export 80% of its produce beyond this island. So there's a common North-South access which is crucial going forward. The North-South relationship in terms of agriculture and food production is glaringly obvious. That's the reason I believe that in developing the agriculture and food industry going forward, DARD in Northern Ireland has to work constructively and positively with the Department of Agriculture in the Republic. Michelle O'Neill, the Minister for Agriculture in Northern Ireland, needs to work constructively with the Minister for Agriculture in the South, Mr. Cody. The reality is that export-led growth in terms of food processing and international marketing and sales is essential. Higher value-added food products for the international supermarket shelf is crucial in order to get this sector growing for the future. For farmers, the CAP has been very good since 1973 for Northern Ireland as well as the Republic. The current CAP reform negotiations are crucial for the future of agriculture in the North. The single farm payment system has been relatively successful, but it has delivered many problems for farmers. In the current year, the primary producer, that is the farmer, is experiencing many difficulties across Northern Ireland. We have a problem with prices in beef, prices in milk, sheep meat, all exacerbated by higher input costs, be it fertiliser costs, be it feed costs, be it fuel costs, exacerbated by the terrible weather that we have had. And I want to commend the Farmers for Action Group throughout this summer highlighted the problems of the primary producers. And I know Farmers for Action have a representative, Eric Martin, here today, and I think it's important that we recognise the work that they have done all this summer. Ladies and gentlemen, what I would say, delegates, it's important that the Food Agriculture Strategy Board get on with implementing a strategy, but DARD needs to be fit for purpose. We have currently a minister who does not make any policy announcements in terms of the development of agriculture. We have a department that is unsure of its operation. We only have a temporary permanent secretary for the last 2 years. What does that state about the department? What does that state about the political management of DARD? I say to DARD and to the minister, let's get on with it and get real. Thanks very much.
I would like to endorse what Joe has proposed here. The agricultural industry in Northern Ireland is very, very important to the Northern Ireland as a whole. It's the largest current industry that there is in Northern Ireland. Some of the North-South proposals that are proposed here are very, very good. However, with the grant aid and other such things that is available in Northern Ireland, in our counterparts in the south of Ireland, some of them are able to get 6 times the funding that we're able to get. This is as a direct result of the fact that we, as part of the UK and Northern Ireland, are in Europe as an industrial nation set up under the European rebate by Margaret Thatcher a long number of years ago. There's an opportunity now with the EU presidency in the Republic of Ireland for Northern Ireland to get a special concession. We in Northern Ireland do not have the industry as what either the Republic of Ireland has or what Britain has in a normal industrial nation, and we should be able to get some form of a special deal now with the EU presidency in the south of Ireland. On the milk situation across the whole of the north of Ireland, and in fact across the world, the supermarkets are pulling to pieces the price to the primary producer. Certainly there might be plenty of people making lots of money within the entire agriculture sector, in processing, etc., and in milk businesses and whatever you might have. But the actual primary producer's price has been manipulated as a lost leader product on the ground. Be it beef, be it milk, be it bread, be it whatever. And while you consumers may wish that you like to see cheaper food, yes, the food looks cheaper and it's perceived to be cheaper. But the situation is that whenever you go to buy your shirt, or buy a tin of beans, or buy some other product, it's slightly dearer. A cousin of mine was recently over from Australia who worked in the wine business. And what he was saying, what the supermarkets were doing there in the wine business in Australia was mixing a South American wine with Australian wine, 10% mixture, blend it, calling it an Australian product, and wiping out the farming industry. There needs to be some form of an adjudicator voice here in Northern Ireland here that has teeth, that delivers an income to the primary producer. Now, if we don't have a primary producer, we won't have an industry here. So I call upon the conference here to support the motion here that Joe has proposed. Thank you.
Conference Chair, first of all, could I pay tribute to our agricultural spokesperson, Joe Byrne, who has been doing a very good job as Deputy Chair of the Assembly's Committee and as our agricultural spokesperson at a time when we have a Minister who is not addressing the needs of farmers, that has presided over a debacle in relation to single farm payments and presided over the lack of attention to many farmers who have suffered as a result of extremely bad weather this year, and doesn't seem to understand that the single farm payment is in many cases the sole income for farmers. But delegates, we have a very important role to do. In the run-up to Ireland's presidency of the European Union and in the run-up to the next European elections, there is a compelling political imperative for us to ensure through our political representations at a local, regional and European level that the reform of the Common Agricultural Policy reflects the needs of our farming industry on this island, that the definition of the active farmer is fully reflected through further subsidies, and the proper transitional arrangements are in place to ensure the continuation of income for farmers. We want no repeat of delays in payments that farmers have currently experienced in the last 2 years. And we say to government that you must realise that these payments form a substantial part of income for farmers. With regard to the Common Fisheries Policy, which is also subject to reform and change, we need to continue to impress upon Brussels and the British government the need for regionalisation of fisheries management and policy to protect our onshore and offshore enterprises. And we also must ensure that that reform reflects a totally realisable reform of the fish quota system, which allows our industry locally to grow and to prosper. It must allow for a relaxation of the rules which govern the total allowable catch and days at sea regulation. Now, both Joe and Oisin referred to the agri-food industry, and that is the bedrock of our local economy. But central to all of that is the need for government, and that is both governments, both Irish and British governments, to work together to realise that there is a dysfunctionality in the food chain, that the price that the primary producer receives doesn't equate with the price that is being paid by us, the consumer. The producer is not getting enough, so there needs to be an examination of what is going on between the processor and the retailer, whilst not damaging the industry. And I would hope that the Grocery Code adjudicator will make some provision for that. And shortly, it will receive its debate in the House of Commons after having been through the House of Lords, and that will ensure that a system is put in place for fairer prices, but it is an adjudicator and cannot go further than that. But it is important that that is allowed to take place, because that will allow our agri-food industry to grow and to prosper. But Chair and conference delegates, the one way that we are going to challenge and underpin the bedrock of our local economy is to ensure politically that we have a place in Europe through having and through selecting and electing a person to the European Parliament in 2014 that will fight for the rights of farmers and fishermen right throughout the north of Ireland. That's what we had in John Hume. That's what we need again, because we're the only party that can reflect the needs of the ordinary man and woman in the street. So let's get out there, select our person, and get back into Europe and do the job that the people want us to do.